Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Got my canvas ready. Also remember to tighten your canvas and to flood it also. You can tighten your canvas by spraying water on the back of it and letting it dry. It should sound like a drum when you're thumping on it. And we're doing a floating cup, which is one of my favorite things to do. That's how you flood a canvas. That is by completely covering it in paint so that it's not dry and it helps the other paint to move. A floating cup pour, you're going to pick how many colors you want to use. This is a fuchsia and a pink. I believe it's also black and white and gold. Layer them, make sure they're all the same consistency. You can use silicone if you like to. I believe I did in this one. I usually don't use it in the base color. Well, I never use it in the base color. You don't want to have cells on your canvas. Layer them in the order that you want them to go in and try to keep the layers even, except maybe the black and white, which you kind of use to separate things. Pretty soon you'll see the cup start to move on its own. Be sure to get enough paint in your floating cup. It feels like there's enough once it starts moving on its own, but that's not usually the case. You want to make sure you have enough to do the top of the canvas, but the sides also. The sides, having paint on them gives it a more finished look. So once your cup starts floating on its own, you can kind of manipulate it. There it is, around, to see how much paint you have exactly and if it'll cover the canvas. It's really pliable at this point. You need to decide when to take your cup off. See, sometimes you do have to add a little more paint. Okay, looks like there's about enough paint on it now. Be careful when you're removing your cup not to drip it into the middle of the paint that you have on the canvas. Let's see if I can do that. Looks like a nice buildup of cells has started. For the cup removal, and probably should slide, nope, got some paint on it. Want to slide something underneath it so you don't do that. And be ready to use your torch if you want to see if further cells are going to come up, or even to pop air bubbles that you see. There you go. Well, that looks pretty. I see a couple air bubbles. Try to move your paint around, but always come back to the center and then move it in another direction so you don't stretch out your design too far. Whoa, Mimi, that's an awful big tilt. Going off of the edges is good. Last minute attempt to get those air bubbles out. Looks really nice. I like the way the metallic shows up with the pink, the fuchsia, the red. Oh, there's another way to get rid of the air bubbles. Just poke them with your finger. Back at it with that torch. Be sure not to overheat your stuff. It will also create a skin over the top of it, and the paint will stop moving. And then you always go back to the professional way of poking them with your finger. There you have that big tilt again. Watch it on that. Probably just trying to cover the edges. Thanks for stopping by tonight. I hope you learned a few things like what to do and what not to do. Have a good night, and remember to like and subscribe.